Good morning, awesome people. I hope you guys are doing good. Happy Saturday. Um, Super awesome day today. Very sunny, lovely day to be out doing whatever you love doing best and having a great time. But before the day begins for me, I just wanted to drop by and have a conversation with whoever is available to have this chat. My name is Sika and I'm super awesome. I am super excited to be here and I hope that you are too. So, in this life of ours, we all want to make progress. We're all here for a reason. There's a reason why you were born, there's a reason why you were planted on this planet Earth. There is some destiny that you need to fulfill on the surface of the planet. And until you shut your mouth and eyes and don't breathe anymore, that is what you're supposed to be doing. But in this life, if you want to have good outcomes, it always is dependent on the lens through which you're looking out at life. Perspective is everything. How you view things, how you see things, what you expect your life to be, or how you're expecting outcomes for the things that you're putting into the atmosphere or the universe, how you're perceiving those things to happen is everything. If you're perceiving that you're going to have a good life, you have an open mindset, and you're willing to try new things and take advice from people who know, you change everything. But on this journey and in this life of viewing things from different perspectives, there are three types of people that I want to talk about. And most people find themselves in one of these three categories. You might not have all the characteristic traits of one particular group, but at the end of the day, you might have bits and pieces of traits from the different groups that I want to talk about today. The first group that I want to talk about today is the eternal excusers. Eternal excusers are the group of people that blame everything that is happening in their life on external factors. The kids are up to no good, and it's the school's fault, it's the teacher's fault for not teaching their kids the right things to do. It's the teacher's fault for not giving their children enough homework to do, and that's why their kids are not academically bright or good enough. They don't have a good job. Oh, yeah, maybe if I had gone to a more prestigious school, then I'd have better opportunities at having better jobs. Like everything that happens in their lives, they blame other people for. Everything is everybody else's fault but their own. Now, these people are also very critical of people. They know how to fix everybody else's life but their own. Am I describing somebody that you might know, or even yourself, if you have the honesty and confidence to admit shortcomings, right? Haven't we all got people in our lives that don't really have their shit together, but they're quick to tell everybody else how they think you should run your life? You know, if you do this and you don't do that and you do this, then everything will be right with you. Like they don't have their own stuff fit together, but they feel that they've earned the right to tell you how you should live your life. Now, the people that are like that are very all-knowing, very too known. Everything about everything they know. They have, they have a perspective or a view on anything that you talk about, they know full well. Now, the people who are into this kind of group or this category of people are the way they are because they don't want to face up to their own shortcomings and poor choices that you might have made. Let's face it, life is not, we didn't come into this life with any manual. I've said this a gazillion times. We've all come here and been planted on this earth, and you take one step after the other and hope that the things that you're doing become successful. But if they don't succeed, it's a lesson point for you to find better ways of doing things to have better outcomes. Oh, my big sister Jo Domensa is in the house. My sister, how are you doing? I hope you're great. There's no quick fix to anything in life. There isn't. And you have to have an open mindset to things if you're going to be willing to learn to change anything. The second group of people that I want to talk about this morning are, the sturdy settlers. These are the groups of people that, hello, Tori, darling, how are you? The sturdy settlers are the types of people that give this outward facade that they have their shit together. So you'd see them and they are posting pictures about this picture perfect family, a husband and wife and children. They have everything figured out. A job that is perfect outwardly, seemingly to everybody else. They're putting out this facade that they've got everything figured out and their life is perfect. They're taking pictures on holidays on the beach. And I'm not saying that if you do these sorts of things and you put them out there that it's wrong. But what I'm saying is that you have to have the inner peace and satisfaction. Like, is that really truly the life that you're living? Or are you just saying that because that is what you wished you have, but you don't? But you're putting out this facade that is what it is, just so that you can feel good about yourselves. Because a lot of the times we know people personally, and we know that the sorts of things that they're putting out there is not really what it is. They're never willing to admit that, not every aspect of their life is perfect, and they're also work in progress. But 9 times out of 10, steady settlers are not happy people. They're just putting out this outward facade that they're happy, but internally, they are dying. Like their inside is screaming out that they're dissatisfied with 1 or 2 or 10 things that are going on in their lives. They're not happy probably with relationships that are happening. They're not happy in the job that they have. But a lot of the time, steady settlers feel that they're trapped. They don't have any other alternative. This is the life that they have. And they're so scared that if they jump out of having this kind of a perspective and go on into something else, they won't be able to afford or have that facade that they want everybody to believe that they have, which is a picture perfect life. It's difficult, it's tough. And it's a very uncomfortable and, quite frankly, unrealistic thing to have, because you can only put up appearances for long enough before the holes punched in every part of the story that you're trying to put out there. The best way to live life is to just say that, look, hey, my life ain't perfect, but I'm just living my life in the imperfections and trying my best to manage the things that I can change about my life to become a better person. And I see that on social media, those of us that want to be real people and say, hey, my life sucks, ABC in my life doesn't go well, but I choose to focus on the positives that are in my life and have better outcomes. People don't tend to like you too much. People like the facade, the untrue, unreal, unrealistic life that a lot of people are putting out there, right? Now, the third group of people that I want to talk about today are the people that are always chasing change chasers all the time. Like, there's some people, every single time you speak to them, there's this new opportunity that they're looking into and they're exploring. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look at new opportunities. Hi, Sadiq, how are you doing? There's nothing wrong with trying to, chase new opportunities and seek change in your life. But like everything in this life, nothing happens overnight. So if you find something new that you want to pursue, you would at least give it time It's like a seed of corn. When you plant corn, it doesn't germinate and become a fully blown corn tree that is, it's got corn cobs popping out left, right, and center. It takes time. But change chasers don't have time for things like that. Like once they plant the seed today, they want to reap a harvest today. And if it's not happening, they're on to the next thing that is going to bring them something that they want to see. The other thing that is with that is that such people are only doing that because they feel that they're being left out, right? They look at themselves and they're always comparing themselves to other people. Oh, Adwoa Odomensah has got 3 houses. We're the same age. How comes that she's got 3 houses and I don't even have a plot of land to build on? Oh my gosh, how is she doing it? So they're into everything and it's dog because they're chasing up. They want to rush up to catch up to Adwoa Odomensah and get up to wherever Sadiq is so that, their life can be perfect. But when you're like that, you're very impulsive and you make decisions based on impulse. People who are like that, and that transcends also into the way that they are in their private lives also. Quick-tempered people sometimes fall into this category. Like they are reactive people. So, oh my gosh, the stock market is rising. Oh, I better invest in this currency or that currency without taking the trouble to fully understand what they're getting themselves into before they fully get into it. My sister says unnecessary competition and lack of critical thinking. Exactly. Those are the change chasers. There's nothing wrong with wanting change, but you have to understand that when you plant a seed, it takes time from sowing to reaping and harvest time. Jackie Appiah is the topic right now for Ghanaians. It's always somebody else, isn't it, Tori? But change chasers are like that. They don't have time to sit back and wait for things to happen and all of that. Very impulsive people. They want change. They want things to happen now. And because this person is doing it, I must also do it now. And that is it, full stop. Right? Those are the groups of people that I want to talk about today. And in saying that, say that if you want to see change in your life, change that is positive, change that is long-lasting, change that is progressive with anything that you're doing in your life right now, the way to do it is to have a daring, disruptive attitude. I don't know about a lot of you, but for me personally, I am very intuitive. Like when I have an impression that keeps coming back time after time, to the point that if I'm not doing something on that intuition that has come to my spirit, I can't rest. I can't sleep. I can't sit down. I can't do anything. It means that this is something that is going to change something positively in my life, and I must embark on that mission. And I always use this very thing that I'm doing here now as a classic example. People who know me well, from infancy to adulthood to teenage to whatever, are normally shocked to find me sitting behind the camera talking like this, because this is not me at all, or this wasn't me at all. I was the quiet, sit in the corner, mind your own business, paddle your own boat kind of person. And I was very private. I come from a very private family that don't want nothing to do with the public or have their social, like their social lives out there in the open, talk about themselves and get deep and personal about what's going on in their lives. Nothing like that at all. That is the home that I came from. But one day I just had this impression that I want to do this. I want to talk openly and have a platform that educates, motivates, inspires. And here I am. Now I came humble because I knew that I don't know anything about this space that I'm wanting to delve into. So I need to invest time, money, and humility to learn from the people who know, or the people who have also gone to find out from somewhere else. Because, I was seeing a lot of murkiness in the waters that I was going to delve into. So I wanted to understand what it was that I was getting into before I got into it. And it should be the same with you and anything that you decide that you want to do. If you're in a job that doesn't serve you, that you're unhappy in, slowly but surely, you must find what satisfies the inner core of your being and focus on the set thing, right? Anything that takes away from you, doesn't satisfy you in any way, shape, or form, I'm not saying go quit your job tomorrow, but what I'm saying is that take little steps to find that thing that satisfies you. Because a lot of the time, that is where the reward is. That is what changes your destiny and your life. Not your 9-to-5 job that is just keeping things ticking over. You're making enough money to pay the bills, and that is it. We're not meant to live a life of endurance. We're meant to be happy. Enjoy the life that we have. Whoever brought us here is not so horrible and so wicked that he just brought us on the surface of the planet to rear us like cattle and sheep and goats, to just, go back and forth, and then at the end of the day, you just fall by the wayside. That's not the intention at all, as I believe and understand it to be. And I find that people that are doing things that they were meant to do, make it from that set thing that it is. You might not have found what your talent on the surface of the planet is, but maybe the first question to ask yourself is, what are the things that I do very effortlessly and could do all day and not even, think about what time it is the first question. And secondly, once you figured out what that thing is, how can you monetize that? How can you turn that into something that brings you a reward that you can live off? Those are critical questions that all of us as people need to ask ourselves if we want this quest to live a life of enjoyment and not a life of endurance. Sometimes people quantify success in materialistic things only. But if whatever is bringing you the material things doesn't make you happy within yourself, you can have everything and still be lonely and still be unhappy and still not enjoy this life that you have and wish you could even leave. I've seen people that have hit the prime of their career. They have everything that you can think about, and some, a house, a car, houses, retirement home, holiday home, children, a wife, a husband, name it. But when it comes to the finer things of life, like really enjoying life in all its fullness, these people don't have those things, right? Sometimes wanting to pursue the thing that makes you tick, the thing that brings you that inner peace and enjoyment, means that you have to take calculated risks. You have to take calculated risks, not impulsive and just do everything because everybody else is doing something, so I also ought to do it. But before you embark in that thing, ask yourself the question. Hello, Eben, how are you doing? Ask yourself the question. How is this thing going to serve me? These murky waters that I'm getting into, I need to study my environment and understand how it works so I'm best prepared to have the best possible outcomes that I could possibly have. And you learn along the way. Like, you can't have everything figured out perfectly well before you start taking that step. I'm doing good too, my darling. I'm glad you're well. Right? You can't have everything perfect. I say this all the time, that when I go back to 3 years ago actually, when I started recording videos just on my personal profile, the sorts of things that I used to say, sometimes I go back and watch some of those videos and I do this. It's like, oh my gosh, but I wasn't seeking to be perfect. I just had to take that step and that leap of faith and learn and improve on a daily basis, right? And that is the way to do it. A lot of people want to have everything figured out first. I want to do a state-of-the-art thing. It has to be a show that is picture perfect. So I'm not going to get started until I have a studio. I have a camera crew. I have people that are going to dress me up. I have enough to... You will never, ever get going when you're like that. I started recording videos from my mobile phone. That's all I had. That's what I could afford. A lot of the time from work. I knew I had to do a video, so I would arrive at work 45 minutes to an hour earlier than my shift began. I would find a little room, one of the conference rooms in a corner of some place, and go sit there, put my phone down, and record videos. Sometimes I would take boxes that have reams of paper, and that would be my stage, because the way I want to put my phone so that it can capture me and not show everything, the mess that is around me, that is what I have to do. So the phone is sitting on actually somebody's shoebox and being propped at the back with my water bottle, for example, and I'm recording a video. All you need to see is me and what I'm saying. And so it's been a journey, right? But 3 years on, I've grown from that to living in a place where I have an office where I can choose to do my videos. If I want to lay in my bed and do my videos, I will lay in my bed and do my videos. And it works for some people and it doesn't for others, but that's fine. But I'm just doing me. Because I haven't come on social media to create a picture perfect scenario about my life. I am just documenting my life and making the progress step by step as I go along. And I found some people that find what I say helpful. And so they turn on their cameras and their phones to listen and to watch what I'm saying. I guess the crux of what I'm saying is that it doesn't have to be social media. It doesn't have to be a platform where you speak, educate, motivate, inspire. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Yours could be setting up a kitchen. You love to cook, and that's what you love. That is your passion. When you cook for people and people find fulfillment and enjoyment in eating your food, it brings you satisfaction. You're sitting in your own house. You're thinking to that day when you'd have your own restaurant and a place where you can cook and people would come and eat, but you can't afford to do that just yet. But that dream doesn't have to die just because you don't have a kitchen yet. It has to be a professional kitchen. It has to have servers and helpers and everything and the dog. You can start cooking from your own kitchen. And quite frankly, people love a story, right? In this day and age, we all love realism. Well, I do. I would follow anybody that has a story, because it is in that process that you've learned to grow and to stretch and to be everything that you are. You can't have your shit all together before you start to take that journey, because it's a process. Succeeding is a process. You start from somewhere and slowly but surely build gradually to get where you need to be. It's a sacrifice. It's not easy. There are even days when your own the own fiber of your own being is fighting you to not do the thing that you love to do the most. It could be ill health. It could be work trying to get in the way. It could be family issues, whatever it is. But you still have to make that progress through it. You guys always see when I wear sunglasses. If I'm not outside wearing sunglasses, happy-go-lucky, it's sunny, it's lovely. People who have watched it, followed this thing from the get-go know. When I put sunglasses on and I'm inside the room, it means that it's not a good day. I've had a migraine. I don't feel great, but I still show up. Nonetheless, it is a process. It is life. And I'm sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, and whatever is in between, improving to somebody that the perspective in which you see life, the lens through which you're viewing life determines the sort of outcomes that you're going to have. Everybody has something that is imperfect in their life. We've all got shit going on in our lives. Good shit, bad shit, it's still shit nonetheless. And it's happening to the best of us. But it's just dependent upon how you wish to see it. Some people don't realize that life is a step is a step that you take at a time. Exactly. Like we know we don't all evolve overnight, right? It doesn't happen like that. That's just not how it is. And sometimes you actually have to go back to go forward. Maybe one day I need to just turn my camera on and tell you guys the story of my life. I've said it in bits and pieces, but try to piece it all together and pick the highlights and the lows of my life and tell you how it's been all the way till today. It's not been a bed of roses. I got up one day and had a crazy idea. I don't want to live in England anymore. I want to move. I want to live in another country. Thank God I had family where I'm at now. So I'm like, yeah, if you want to come, why not? We'll help you. So I moved to Canada. But I moved with the premise that because of everything that I'd achieved professionally, that I would come here and it would just be a breeze. And come on, there's no big difference between England and Canada. So I would just literally walk into a job and be very happy. It was anything but that. I had to eat humble pie and start my life over from scratch with nothing. Was it easy? No. Were there days when I didn't cast myself and ask myself, why the hell did I even make myself uncomfortable? But this is the daring disruption that I talk about, that you have to do sometimes. But I knew that England wasn't it for me. It didn't bring me that fulfillment that I wanted. So I didn't realize just how uncomfortable and disruptive my life was going to be when I was embarking on that journey. So I was not prepared for that. But then I came and I had to go through it. There's no other choice. Like I have to either do it or I don't. So I started. It was bit by bit. It was painful. There were lots of tears. There were a bunch and select few people that I go to cry to. I have people like that I would go to cry to. Ask Amma Manson. Yeah, the tears, the cries, back door. Ask her. She'll tell you. It's not been fun. But I am now at a point where I can now see the light at the end of the tunnel. Because now you've gone this way, you went down, you've come back up again, and now you can actually see that the graph is now going that way. It's now onwards and upwards. And through that, you've learned, you've refined, like you're a different product. And it's constantly changing. How many of us have that willingness to learn new things? The humility to be a better person comes from humbling yourself and saying, when it comes to this particular thing, I don't know anything about it. But you know what? I'm willing to humble myself and to learn from you. I don't care how old you are or young you are. I don't care about what your qualifications are or not. There's some people who think that I'm a PhD holder. What business do I have learning from a high school dropout? Yeah, you might be a doctor and a professor and whatever in your discipline. But maybe when it comes to social media and what is happening and what is fresh, you don't have the foggiest idea. Young people know a lot about a lot. You learn a heck of a lot from them. So are you willing to eat humble pie and learn from young people? People find young people trouble, boring, but there's a lot that you can learn from them. Are you willing to speak their language and learn from them? Or are you just going to be proud and arrogant and say that because you're the mom or the dad, because you're 40-something or 50-something, you have no business learning? But honey, You need to get with the times. Because whatever you were doing back in that 60s or whatever, whilst there's a place for it, like time is leaving you behind. So you better get on board or be left behind. I remember this story, and I'll tell you the story, that when social media first started, WhatsApp to be precise, my parents, especially my dad, was very cagey about it, always had these suspicions that it might be a platform that people now use to get into your private life and want to know things that are going on in it. I've told you, my parents are very private people. My dad, very much so. And so it was really hard to convince this guy to get on social media. It just made life simple. Like, it makes things happen. I could just take a picture and share it with you, Dad. Oh, no. The only way you could send him a picture was to send him via email. It was cumbersome. It was tough. But nothing you said was getting in. Like, he's just made up his mind that it is what it is. Thank God, my youngest sister is crazy. If you think I'm crazy, she is super crazy. She just picked up his phone. Dad, can I use your phone for a second? She downloaded WhatsApp on his phone, created a profile for him, took a picture and sent it to him. And then she created a WhatsApp group, put all of us in the group, and we started exchanging pictures. Now, guess who is the first person to send you a picture or anything that's going on? Like, he can give you running commentary, blow by blow, what is happening right there and then. He's like a news correspondent today. And this is the same person who did not want to hear nothing. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Thank you so much, Sadiq. And that's the point I'm trying to make. But it's all dependent on the lens and the perspective that you have of life. A lot of us see life as, it's hard. And it is hard. It is hard. But the fact that it's hard doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the journey along the way. It is sometimes the unrealistic expectations that we have of ourselves and this unhealthy comparison that makes life that much harder, like a chore for the best of us. And sometimes the way that you see life and the aura that you're giving out to the atmosphere brings more of the same things that you don't even want to happen to you. Sometimes we think that when we mope about and we're doom and gloom, then it means that we are hustling through the life the hard way. And we think that the people that are happy-go-lucky and jumping around and laughing all the time don't have problems. No, they have problems too. But they've chosen to look at it from a different lens, have a different perspective of life. And it definitely, absolutely does change things, right? We've all got something. And so if you go through life thinking that there's something that you are going through is the worst possible thing that has ever happened, like there can't be anything that can be worse than what you've gone through, it may be true. But at the end of the day, if you want to make progress, you still have to up your girdle and get going, because life is not waiting for you. Whether you go through it moping about, sad, angry, frustrated, scream, you will go through it until that day comes when he who made you says it's time for you to come home. And then comes the question, what did you do with the life that I gave you? What's the answer that you're going to give? Right? So guys, like, life is a journey. Success is a process. If you are willing to have an open mind, if you're willing to admit that you don't have it all together, if you're willing to set your own pace, set your own path, and follow that path, yes, you can have, and it's good to have people that you aspire to be like, people that motivate you, people that inspire you, coaches and mentors that, set you on the right track and help you keep the focus. But ultimately, you are you. And I'm me. Ajo Odomensa is a very good friend of mine. We talk back though. I've never seen her in my life. I can't wait to meet her in person. But we are very different. She's cool, calm, and collected, and anything but that, right? I have a bigger mouth and a louder voice than she does. But I love her. She's who she is, right? I have so many friends on social media like that. I learn a buck or two from them. I pick up things from everybody that I have in my life. I don't know it all. I can't know it all. This is my eyes. It only can only look at one thing at a time, depending on how my head is turned. So if I turn my head this way, now it's looking at that in that direction. And that's it, right? I love people, I do. But I am humble enough to admit that I don't know everything. I can't know everything. When you're so full of yourself and you think that you've seen everything that needs to be seen in this life, and so you know everything, people tend to shy away from you when you're like that, because you don't have an open mind to learn or want to grow in any way, shape, or form. But growth is important. And this growth needs to be a continuous growth. Like, as a people, we don't really like to self-develop ourselves and understand that growth means that you're constantly learning new things about life, about people, about everything. If you put a seal on things and say, oh, because I have a first degree, that's it, I don't need any more education. Because I have I finished JSS, I don't need any, I'm now 50 years, I don't need no more education. Then you're limiting yourself in your growth, right? And education and learning doesn't only have to be formal. There's lots of things that you learn informally. You might just hit on a video on YouTube, on Facebook, on something, and there's just that one phrase that it says. And it's a big aha moment for you because it's something that you've never heard before. Or if you've heard it before, you've never heard it being put in that way before. And that opens a whole new atmosphere to you about things that you can do. But in the midst of everything and all the noise and clutter that life can sometimes present to you, you need to find yourself. Who are you as a person? And understand that there can never be another you. There is you, plain and simple, period. Develop yourself. Be as individual and unique as you possibly can. And be you. No matter how much I'm cloned, there's never going to be another one like me. As crazy as I am, the biggest mouth that I have, the huge eyes that bulge, the big tummy that's overflowing, me. Like, there's never going to be another me, right? You see what you want to see, and if you don't want to see it, well, tough. This is me, right? And I say it as it is. My hair is a hot mess, I know. But I'm me. I'm busy being me. And that's all I can be. And every day I'm improving. I want to be a better person in every aspect of life, every single day. I'm willing to learn from people. Those of you who've lived in the West long enough know that you can have bosses that have high school certificates and they're your bosses. And you have a master's degree or PhD, but you have to submit to a Form 5 leaver or finish high school, A-levels, whatever. And that is your boss. You must submit to them. And no matter what qualifications you have, there's a lot that you can learn from them. And it is what it is. If you want to have a different life, you must be willing to be daring. Take calculated risks, but risks nonetheless. There are people who are always very pessimistic about life. Like pessimism is something that can be very damaging. I'm not saying that when you're, embarking on a project, don't look at the worst possible outcomes. I'm not saying that. It's important to do that. But don't just stop it at looking at what the worst possible outcomes can be. But also, the good thing about figuring it out in advance is now you're trying to find ways to combat that in case it does happen, or prevent it from happening in the first place. But what a lot of us tend to do is that we figure out what the negatives are, and that stops you in your tracks. Oh, this can happen, so no, I'm not going to embark on this thing because it has this potential thing that can happen. What if everything goes right? What about that? Because that's something that can happen too. Positive, negative. Work on the positives and factor in the negatives and make provision for that, and do whatever it takes to ensure that it doesn't happen. But worst case scenario, even if it does happen, you've learned a lesson and you move on with that. I've never seen anybody who is overly pessimistic that has ever made any big progress and giants in their lives. The movers and shakers have hit rock bottom several times, dusted off their bums, and move on. They are the people that are moving and shaking things. How many times has Donald Trump been bankrupt? But we still talk about him. Nobody ever dreamt that that guy could ever be president. But he is. Why? Love him or loathe him, he has some of these things that I'm talking about today. That nothing phases him. We lean all the time to make life easier. Life is never meant to be easier. And if you want your life to be easy, you have to create your own success, which isn't easy anyway. It's hard work. Guys, sometimes I record videos and I'm in between calls. I have a 5-minute break. I'm on a video. I have a 15-minute break that I should go sit, grab a cup of tea, coffee, something, sit down and, like rejuvenate my brain. But if you want it bad enough, you do whatever it takes to make it happen. It's 2:00 in the morning. You have to keep yourself going. So you do whatever it takes to keep you going. It's plain and simple. You either want it or you don't. And if you want it bad enough, you do the needful to make it happen. I want to see a day in my life where I don't have to answer to anyone. I don't have to work for anyone anymore. I can do what I want to do. That is what I'm living for. And I sure as hell am going to hit it as hard till it happens. Because that's just the option that I have. There is no, oh, maybe I can do it some other way, because that's not going to give me the fulfillment and satisfaction that I desire. So I'm here. I've only got one shot at life. I've got nothing to lose. Whether I like it or not, 6 foot under, I'm going. Whether you like it or not, you're going to. So until that flight of yours is called, where you must sit on that plane, whether you like it or not in your seat, going to the land of the not living. Play the game of life. Take chances and see where life takes you. We're not going away with any of these things. But at the end of it all, when all is said and done, can you sit back and say that you did your best? That you took advantage of every single opportunity that came your way and are happy with the outcome? If the answer is yes, that's good. But if you're like me and the answer at the moment is no, then I'm hitting it hard. Age, how bad things have gone, none of those things are excuses. You can change things if you want to change things. And ages, it doesn't really matter. Might be harder, yes, Things that I could have done 20 years ago, I'm now struggling to do. It's tough, but it must be done because that's the only way to feel fulfillment and happiness within the core of my being. That is it. It is the gospel truth. And when you're born or hang around people that are go-getters, you don't have a choice. I don't have a choice but to do what I do because everybody around me is busy improving things, and they don't allow setbacks or obstacles that come on the path to success and progress stop them from making it. I know a young lady that started off life with all the best intentions in the world, got married very young. By the time she was 26, she'd had all her children already. You know, life was good. And then life wasn't good. Person she was married to left. Now she's saddled with 3 children. What's she going to do? She could either bury her head in the sand, cry of every day, be depressed, want to kill herself, and everything in between, or move on, pick up the pieces and move on. It was hard. It was hard. This girl was working her full-time job in school. Then she would drive Uber till the crack of dawn, come back, sleep for a few hours. At a point, she was braiding people's hair for money. Like, she was doing everything and their dog to make sure that her kids are provided for. Even if she went hungry, her children had a means. Then the place that she was living didn't have, she wasn't fully documented yet. So every single year she sat on the fence, not knowing what her fate is going to be and all of that. She had to choose a very difficult path in order to get her where she wants to be. Now, this person that I talk about, knowing her as a child and what I'm seeing now, I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would ever know a person that had that or was able to get to where she is right now. I never saw a nurse in her. I certainly didn't see somebody who was military trained in her. But today, she's a soldier. Something that I don't think in the 10 years past, even she could have ever imagined was possible or she would be. But she is. She inspires me so much that in spite of the obstacles and challenges that she faced, she didn't give up on life and she's still making progress. I've seen and heard about people who were young adults without even finishing JSS or having O level, not to talk of A level. And today, these people are well on their way to become PhD holders. Like, the sky is the limit to you based on the lens through which you're looking at life. The fact that you didn't go to school, the fact that your parents didn't have money, the fact that your parents had money but ignored you, the fact that you've had children and your husband left you, the fact that your wife died and now you have to look after children, the fact that you're sick and you've had 14 surgeries and counting and you don't even know where your life is going health-wise. None of that should stop you because you better live the life as if today is the last day that you have. And there's this sense of urgency to make the most of it. You can choose to live a life of endurance, but it's always miserable. You're always sad, angry, frustrated, sick. And what the heck? Like, whether you go through life sick or not, you will still go through life. You might as well enjoy the process. Enjoying the process and smiling and laughing doesn't mean that you're ignoring the fact that you have problems. But you're saying, even in spite of the problems, I will smile at the storm. It is possible if only you want to change the lens through which you're viewing life. And so if you're an eternal excuser, you are not going to have the success that you want. If you're a steady settler, you're not going to have the life that you dream, because on the face of it, it looks like you have everything together, but you're only deceiving yourself. And if you're always chasing change without giving anything a chance to grow to full fruition, you will always just change, and success will always elude you because you've never given it the opportunity for the seed that you plant to germinate and grow to maturity, to bear you the fruit that you desire before you move on to something else. Give things a chance to materialize in your life and experience the true sense of accomplishment in this life. For me, success is not just about the things that I've managed to acquire for myself. It's all about the impacts that I've made, the people that I've managed to influence positively. Tomorrow, when I'm dead and gone, I want people to talk about me in a positive light. I want to be remembered for something that I said and did or was a part of. Right? I have things in my life that I can be miserable about. I do. And sometimes I get hit hard by things that really upset me. But in spite of it all, I cry for a night. Don't think that the next day is going to be another day of crying. I've gone past that. You guys know my story. Those of you who know, you know. You know. This week, I went to have these gynae tests and stuff that is becoming apparent. And I think I've known this, but maybe I just haven't fully come to a place of acceptance. Then I'm probably never going to have children biologically, because medically it's a challenge. And whatever it takes to overcome that challenge, I'm not prepared to put my body through. So if it can't happen the natural way, then it's just not for me. Now, coming to the place of acceptance is another thing. Knowing what works for you is one thing, but coming to a place of acceptance is another. That enough is enough for a lot of people to switch everything off and go to bed and never wake up again. Because the culture that we have has led us all to believe that the only way you can be impactful in this life is to have children of your own. That's the belief system that a lot of us have had in the communities in which we've grown up in. But I'm finding that my nephews and nieces can't wait to talk to me because I have all the time in the world to listen to them, and they have all these happy stories to tell me. And I have to find satisfaction and happiness in that. The fact that I can't do it and my siblings have is good enough. If I want to see any of my nieces and nephews, all I have to do is to go to them or get them to come to me. And that's that. Outside of my blood relatives, I have lots of sisters, friends, people who have children that even secretly, without me even knowing, look at me and they're so happy. I want to be like Auntie Sika. I want to be like this. That's enough. That should be enough for me. So don't look at your circumstances and think that, oh, this person, she's always happy, she must have it all together. Nobody does. It's all about the lens that you choose to look at life from, and making lemonade from the lemons that life has thrown at you. I have my own lemonade. I can't have children. What can I do? I can't kill myself about it. I can't. I've had the horrible days when I wanted to be suicidal. I even tried it. All of that. Where did it get me? Nowhere. I'm still here. So let the people who want to judge me because I'm childless go right ahead and do so. Let the people who say you're almost 42 and you're not married and blah, blah, let them do so. I don't care. Like, I'm busy living my life. It's not a bed of roses. There are days when I wake up and I feel this knot in my gut and I just simply can't shift it. I lay there and I'm crying and I'm wailing and then it's like, okay, so now you've cried and everything and maybe you feel a bit better. So what? What's the next thing? Where do you go from here? It's tough. We all have something. Everybody. People that I know have children. And their children are special needs kids, which means they never have a life. I've seen people whose lives have been altered because they wanted children so badly, they had it, and then now their lives is changed. And even those who have children that are not special needs, now you hear them screaming every day about how much it costs to have a child. So the crux of what I'm saying is that it's not an easy life for anybody. It's tough no matter what lemons you have. Whether it's green lemons, orange lemons, red lemons, purple lemons, it's lemons nonetheless. And none of them are nice. None of them. Some people think that because I lost my husband and I now have to look after 3 children by myself and I'm undocumented and I can't even find a job, my stuff is more serious and more severe than somebody who is just childless. But everybody has the cross that they can bear. And the fact that you seemingly have a whole set of problems that are compounding doesn't diminish the pain that I feel. The fact that you're not me doesn't mean that you have the right to come tell me that what I'm going through is nothing and I should move on with it and that you even have to deal with X, Y, Z and the other. No. We all have something. That is the crux of what I'm saying. And it all depends on the lens that you choose to look at your life from. I am happy that I'm here because I could have been dead and gone long ago based on the things that I've had in my lifetime. But the fact that I'm still here and other people who haven't even had a third of what I've been through are not, that alone is enough for me. That when the going gets tough, I say, you know what, let's just get on with it. It could be worse. It's not an easy place to get to, but you have to make your mind believe those things. You have to do it. Guys, let's stop making ourselves and living lives as if we don't have control, because you do. You do have control over your life, especially your brain. You do. You can train your mind to think what you want it to think. You can erase some of those rubbish, garbagey things that are in your subconscious mind and begin to feed it with things that will help to keep that positive energy going all the time. It is doable if you want to allow that to happen. It's doable. So today I just want to stop by and talk about perspective, because that is what changes everything. It's all about the lens that you're choosing to look at life from. If you're looking at it from the eternal excuser, always blaming everybody and their dog for everything that has happened in your life without saying, okay, ABC happened to me, external factors. But I also contributed because I also then went on and did DFG. And this is why my life is like this. Then where are you going? Right? This woman with 3 children that I just told you about can blame, if I had never been married, if I never met this man, then my life would have been so different. If you didn't allow him to sleep with you and impregnate you 3 times, will you have 3 children? You wanted to have the children. You didn't lose your brain. You weren't suffering with amnesia when you were happy-go-lucky, opening up for him to do whatever he did. Like, be accountable for the things that you've done that have contributed to the life that you have, is what I'm saying. And it's not that I don't feel sorry for her. It's not that I don't have empathy, but that is just the plain gospel truth. You're happy on this program. God bless you, my brother. Oh, Naruk, I didn't see you. How are you, darling? I hope you're good. Right? It is what it is. Like, we're all going through something. We are all going through something. It's all about the lens. Look through the good lens and it will feel better. And you can handle it. You can. Allow and accept help and different things that challenge your thought process. Accept them. Sometimes we're so hell-bent, we don't want to hear anything else that somebody else has to, because it challenges your thought process and it doesn't feel very nice. One day, I went moping about not being able to have a child and cried so much. And this woman listened to me, allowed me to do my thing, blah, 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 blah. And then one day she said, I know that you're going through all of this and it sucks. The seeker, so what? I was so angry. I was hurt. I was so disappointed that she said that to me. But then she explained, like, so what? Does it kill you? No. Has it taken anything from who you are? No. So the issue isn't that you don't have a child. The issue is that you don't know who you are. And you feel that having the child is what is going to complete you as a person. Go and figure out who you are first and then come back. That was the beginning of change. That girl cried and moped and could blame everybody and their dog. Why did I even meet this man in the first place? When he said he loved me, why didn't I just tell him to bugger off? You went to know. You went to know. So, like, be accountable and accept your part in the game. The role you played is also a subset of what has happened. Accept that. And even if you didn't play any role, it is what it is. Like, come to a place of acceptance, and that's the only way you move forward. Right? The haters, the naysayers, who cares? Like, they will always be there. There's nothing you can do about it. There was a time in my life I would never step out into any African event because I was afraid that somebody was going to say something negative that's going to trigger me. Like right now, I'm like a fully loaded gun. Bring it on and you get it. Right? It is what it is. I'm living my life, plain and simple. I'm busy. Like I'm busy living my life. The 24 hours in a day is not even enough for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish. So if you want to hate me, hate me. Who cares? Guys, it's time for you to just accept things where they are as the base. This is it. My life sucks. Okay, I've come to a place of acceptance. What can I do to have better outcomes? That is just changing the lens and having a better outcome. The way you see things affects what happens, plain and simple. And it's never too late to look at it from a different lens. Never. Never too late. How badly you want it. Being prepared to do anything that it takes to get you where you need to be. Accept help when help is offered to you. And stop being pig-headed about everything. Sometimes there's this unhealthy pride that people have. I can do everything by myself. I've done everything by myself anyway. Really? Have you lived by yourself? Do you breathe by yourself? Does somebody else not determine whether you live or not live? How do you wake up every morning? When you go to bed, you don't even know what happens to you in the course of the night, but you wake up. So there's something, like just submit to that will, right? I was just passing by to say to somebody who is willing to listen this morning that the perspective that you have, the lens through which you look at life affects the outcomes that you get. So if you know that you're an eternal, you're always making excuses, an eternal excuser. If you know that you're always that steady settler Just accept things the way they are without wanting no change. Or you're a change chaser. Maybe you need to take a critical look at yourself and ask yourself some questions about how that is serving you on your quest for change and progress. And if it's not serving you, then it's time to adopt new strategies. It won't happen overnight. It's hard. But the determination and willingness to humble yourself and learn, take on new ways of thinking, accept people's views and suggestions about how to make it better, and be willing to actually implement them. It's one thing for somebody to suggest something to you, but the willingness to try that thing is another thing. And you're well on your way to succeed. If you ask that he who made you brings the people, the resources, including human resources that you need to get from A to B, he does bring it your way. Be in tune with the spirit and the finer things in life, and you would see change in your life. I love you guys so much. I want to see people that are happy, successful, thriving, making progress, and setting paces in this life. It is possible if you want it to be possible. You can do it if you want to. How badly do you want it? And what lens are you prepared to look at your life from to see that change? If you want to be daring and disruptive, to break these status quos that are in your life that are not serving you in any way, you can see change in your life. At 41, I'm still on my journey to change, progress, and everything good that comes with it. And I don't care how old I am when I get there. All I care about is that I get there. You can do it if you want to. I hope I've inspired somebody this morning to look at life through a different lens. I love you. Stay beautiful, stay handsome, always seek change, and don't be myopic in your vision and your thinking. Sister Jodo, I love you. Elizabeth, God bless you for being here. My brother Sadiq, God bless you. Laroque, I love you. I love every single one of you that have been here today. Stay beautiful. You can do it if you really want to. God bless you. Mwah. Mwah. Bye.